Welcome to Tech News Briefing. It's Tuesday, May 30th. I'm Zoe Thomas for the Wall Street Journal. You might know Clear, the secure identity company, from the airport. It has those frustratingly short lines of people just scanning their faces and their eyes in a pod to confirm their identity, while the rest of us stand in what can feel like a never-ending security line. But the CEO of Clear, Caryn Seidman-Becker, wants to take the company in a whole new direction. At this year's Wall Street Journal Future of Everything Festival, she spoke with our tech columnist Christopher Mims about her plans. Here are highlights from their conversation.
So 5-10 years from now, where am I actually going to use Clear?
Well, it's where you're using it today, right? So you're using it to check in at a hotel as opposed to going to the front
So
desk.
I'll just go in and they'll look at my face.
Yes.
A computer will look at my face.
Well, actually, the phone will look at your face. You'll do it within their app.
Okay.
Or you're doing it to replace the clipboard at a hospital as opposed to filling out all those forms.
So my actual medical records will be linked.
Yes, and your insurance card and your copay. Or you're using it to get into a sports stadium, or you're using it to buy a beer because you're over 21 and your credit card. So
and you're doing that now, right? There's NFL stadiums I can go to now and get in and buy a beer with my face.
Las Vegas, of course, is the right place to start that. But when you think about it, people have been carrying around wallets for decades, full of cards to prove who they are and what they have access to. And so our vision is to fuse those cards to your biometrics, your face, your fingerprint, your eyes, your voice. And because identity is foundational. And you start to see that, right? We could riff in every different area.
And to be clear, not just in the real world, but online too. So you have this new thing where I can verify through my phone who I am for LinkedIn. Where else could I use this online to verify I am who I say I am?
Well, let's talk about our partnership with LinkedIn for a minute. There was a recent report, 55% of the people said they lied on their resume. So it is a real problem. I just got back last night from LA from the Milken Conference, and there was a ton of conversation about talent and how hard it is to recruit talent and to retain talent. LinkedIn is the source of truth for that talent. Before you meet someone, you go on their LinkedIn. All the people I was meeting in LA, that is the source of truth. I wouldn't suggest that it's Wikipedia or something like that. So having it be accurate and having it be easy, why would you be re-verifying where you went to college every time? That makes no sense.
So would this prevent a future George Santos type scenario? If Congress bothered to check LinkedIn and they're like, okay.
I do believe, going back to 55% of the people lying on their resumes, that George Santos is not alone, and that would show that we have a real world problem that has real consequences.
Wow. Just to go back to your hotel example, because I really like that one and I could see that application happening in a lot of different places. Could I eventually use this to, buy things in a store?
Yes.
So I would have Clear, it would be integrated with my phone somehow, and it would just be like the Amazon Go experience. I just walk out.
Absolutely. We talked about the consumerization of biometrics and our vision of that starting in 2010. It was really only in the defense area, and we believed it was going to be consumerized. All these companies starting to engage with it would reflect that. When you go to CVS and you do self-checkout and you buy Sudafed, they stop you, and someone comes over and asks for your driver's license because you have to be over 18.
But Clear's going to make it much easier for me to buy all the Sudafed I want.
Not only will we, but I don't know about mass Sudafed, but when you look at what is happening, online gaming and alcohol delivery and buying mass Sudafed, right? It's all founded in identity and something about you. In some places it's your age, in some places it might be your employment or your healthcare copay. And so absolutely, when you look at how many times you take out cards in your everyday life, that's identity.
So I feel like we're in a different era. There was a time when the idea of biometrics sort of frightened people, and Apple and Samsung and others have done a lot to normalize that. But let's talk about the privacy and the data part of this, because I always just kind of imagine the anonymous Twitter critic when I want to go to what is the kind of the most common critique of your business model going to be, and I imagine them saying, hey, you started out as a public-private partnership with the Department of Homeland Security. How do I trust you, and how do I know that this isn't just a big CIA op to funnel all of Americans' data to the NSA or something?
So we started in the hardest place, aviation, where identity is paramount. We started as a partnership with the Department of Homeland Security as a qualified anti-terrorism technology. So privacy and data security was part of our ethos from day one and is part of our culture and part of the DNA of our company. I also think it's really important for all companies today. Everyone has data. So being really transparent about how you use the data, what do you do, purging the data, securing the data, and really bringing that trust to your consumers. It's their data.
But to be clear, any company that possesses data now, there is some tension between the needs of the individual for privacy and the needs of, say, law enforcement for data. So your Google, your Apple, they publish privacy reports every year. They say, these are the number of times we handed over data, and probably a lot of them were justified. Like there was some terrible crime that was in progress, and somebody needed a warrant in order to get that data. Other companies are looser with it, right? Like we saw a recent report that Twitter's been a lot looser with this, giving data to any government that asks for it. Do you have that kind of disclosure where you're like, this is how many times we've had to turn over data? Are you going to have to start creating that?
We have been very transparent. So here's what we say, and we put it all bold, all caps, as bottom line up front at the beginning, so people don't have to scroll down through the whole privacy policy, which is we do not sell or share data. You join Clear in order to have your data secured in exchange for frictionless experiences. Everything that we do is opt-in, and I think that is so important. And then when you do opt-in, we are telling you exactly the micro data that you would be sharing. For instance, with Avis, in order to skip the checkout desk, we say you're sharing that you're over 25, you're sharing your credit card, whatever it is exactly that you're sharing.
And that's it for today's Tech News Briefing. For more tech stories, head over to our website, WSJ.com. I'm Zoe Thomas for the Wall Street Journal. Thanks for listening.